invasive species, non-native. It is edible, and a lot of people like it for pesto. Common in spring, roadsides, waste places, rocky shores. Dig it with impunity, eat it, because it's a bad invasive.
So now that we've collected our
big old pile of garlic mustard.
Yeah, so these are some tight bundles here. You can see how much is actually in there if you listen up. You can't collect too much of this. It's an invasive species, so chop it down wherever you see it, all of it. Just get rid of it. You can pull it up by the roots, you can chop it down with a knife, it doesn't matter, just get it.
It's even better if you can get the roots actually, because garlic mustard is allelopathic. It will actually kill other species around it, so it's especially bad as an invasive.
But what we're going to do with all this garlic mustard today is we're going to make a pesto out of it. So this is a single plant here, and you can see that you got flowers up towards the top, and then leaves, all these leaves on this nice stem. So what we're going to do is we are going to take those leaves and just the flower stems off. We're gonna not use the main part of the stem as it's too woody, and we'll make the pesto woody as well. So for this, some people like to use a knife. Any knife will do, just sharp, usually not serrated in this situation. But for us, as you can see, Allison is pulling them off, and I'm going to see if I can do a little trick I know of, which is just you will run your fingers along the stem, and look, top, and repeat. So now what we've got here is loosely packed 4 cups of this garlic mustard. So this is how we're going to keep track of how much we have by putting it into a Pyrex dish like this with measuring labels on it. We can sort of keep track and know for the recipe we're going to use how much to use of the other ingredients. Also, a little tip we have read about garlic mustard, although I've never actually ran into it, is that the leaves at the base can get bitter as the plant gets older. So always try and take a nibble of the leaf on some of your bigger plants way down at the base. So just give that a little taste and see if it's bitter or not.
We've now measured out 11 loosely packed cups of garlic mustard leaves, which is what the recipe calls for, and we're going to proceed with the next step.
So we've measured out our ingredients, and we've got our food processor out, which is going to save a lot of work for us down the road. The main ingredient is, of course, the garlic mustard we collected.
Okay, and now we have about a cup of shredded Parmesan cheese, about a little less than half a cup of pine nuts, and just maybe a tablespoon of minced garlic. The recipe calls for a clove, however we do not have clove garlic, so we're using this as a shortcut, which you can absolutely do.
And then a cup of olive oil.
And you may need to add just a little bit more olive oil if the pesto is too thick, or if it's a little too runny, you can add a little bit more cheese or pine nuts, just whatever texture you like.
Okay, so now we're going to add stuff to the food processor. We're going to start with We don't necessarily need the cleaning piece in there. We're going to start with adding our 11 cups.
You're probably gonna need to break it into a couple choppings because it's so fluffy, but it'll flatten down as you chop it up.
So that's probably a good starting point. Tighten that lid on there. Make sure that this is in the locked position, which it was not. Now it's in the locked position, and we're just going to go plug in
our extension cord.
extension cord. Now we're going to turn this thing on. And we can add the rest of the dry ingredients. Get it all nice and fine. And then for the cheese, we're going to take the lid right off. And we're going to add our olive oil.
Do this.
You're supposed to add the olive oil slowly while running. And there you have it. A nice big thing of pesto. I hope you enjoyed what you saw, and I hope you enjoyed the foraging we did before. Stick with us as we continue this journey, as we continue teaching you how to forage for things and make stuff out of it, make different things. Make sure to like, it'll be somewhere in this range. Subscribe is going to be over here. Share is going to be an arrow that's going to be like, whew. And you're going to want to do all those things because you're going to want to see this stuff as we come up with it. Anyways, bye!